You had it in the palm of your hands, and you let it slip away. The final words from The Rock as SmackDown went off the air just a few moments ago. The Rock laying into the crowd, a crowd that popped massively for The Rock, a crowd that tried to do the sing-alongs and the catchphrases with The Rock, but The Rock said, sing-along with The Rock is over. And he called out all the Cody crybabies. And he called it exactly as it is. You ruined a bona fide dream match for a glorified rematch. The absurdity of it all. He called out the fact that there is no story. The story was done at 39. It's like Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. If he didn't get the job done against Bret Hart, we're not going to carry this boyhood dream another year to 13. Plus, we would have never gotten Bret Hart and Stone Cold, that iconic encounter, at 13. But here we are. Here we are doing it all again. Because the same people that got it wrong the first time, the same people that claim struggle in adversity, and now we all know that was wrong, wasn't it? Roman carrying the title for an entire another year as Cody takes on the Judgment Day 70 times. Not exactly the struggle or the adversity they were looking for, right? But all of a sudden, that same crowd, they're okay with Cody getting the title now. That was enough struggle and adversity. 70 matches against the Judgment Day. Now we're okay with Cody Rhodes winning the championship. Shut up! Get out of here with that bullshit! Stunads! There's no logic with these goofballs. There's no common sense. There is no debate. There's no discussion to be had. It's that level of stupidity. But with Hollywood heel Rock, it all comes to the forefront. Be careful what you ask for. You just may get it. And The Rock, Hollywood heel Rock, he giving it to him. And as much as they wanted to cheer The Rock because he's so damn captivating and they're not getting it from anybody else on the roster, The Rock shut him down every chance he got. The Rock was on fire. Show just got off the air. The Rock stole the show easily. Announced an indoor arena record. By the way, a new record thanks to The Rock, no doubt. And I expect this rating to bare minimum be 2.5. Most likely a 2.6. The only question is, do they pop a 2.7? We'll go over it when we get to the main event spot, which again, this was in the main event spot. This was The Rock, Roman Reigns. They are the main event. That's all you need. Levesque McMahon, stay in the back. Not even needed. There was talk that he was going to be a part of this segment originally. Word got out that The Rock is not exactly happy with Levesque McMahon. If you saw the upload we posted up earlier, you know exactly what we're talking about. Levesque McMahon has botched this entire thing from the jump. His indecisiveness and his just overall bad creative has led us to where we are. But everybody likes to blame The Rock, right? That vocal minority likes to blame The Rock while The Rock is telling you it doesn't matter from here on out. Game on, says The Rock. We'll go over that, and the rest of the show was qualifying matches. Now, there were some good parts in this show. That was actually a lot of backstage segments. Ironically, the filler stuff was actually the best stuff. We'll go over that, like LA Knight and Drew, OC and AJ Styles, things like that. But the qualifying matches just trumped the entire show. And that's why I don't like match after match after match after match, because you're going to boot. You're going to give Das Boot to interesting or what should be interesting storylines going into your pay-per-view, especially like WrestleMania. I'll give you an example. Io and Bayley, right? They have this big title match at Mania. It's only 2 matches announced for Mania. And that's one of them. And they didn't do anything tonight. Bayley was backstage for about 60 seconds with Dakota Kai. And then I believe Io, Asuka, and Kairi had about a 60-second promo. all in Japanese, basically doing the same Shinsuke type caption. I like it. But with 7 weeks to go before Mania, if this is the best you have creatively for one of only 2 announced matches, well, this show you how in dire straits Paul Levesque McMahon is creatively. How creatively bankrupt Paul Levesque McMahon is. So he ended up not being a part of this segment. It's probably for the best. Just let The Rock do his thing. Even the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, Jimmy, Solo, they all just stood to the side. Let The Rock do what The Rock does. Some of his final words in that promo. No, you lost the opportunity for Sing Along with The Rock, so just sit down, shut your mouths, and enjoy the ride that The Rock is about to take you on. That's what happens when you're up here. And everybody else is a far distant second, third, 87th, 145th. They're so far off The Rock, it's not even funny. Superstardom at its best. You just have that it factor or you don't. Let's go right from the jump. I ain't got a lot of time. It's pretty late. The show just got over. Try to get this up to you guys. I don't know. Probably maybe late tonight, right? As the show got over, maybe we'll get this up late Friday. We'll see. See how fast we go through this. It's a one-pager because it was just a bunch of matches. But I'll give you my honest, amplified critique as I always do. Kevin Owens defeats Dominic Mysterio to start the show. This is via pinfall off the pop-up powerbomb. Owens advances to the chamber. The only side note that I have here is Truth. R-Truth was involved, sort of, as a distraction to who, I don't know, because originally he actually ended up hurting Kevin Owens. Owens got distracted, and there was a baseball slide by Dominic, took out Kevin Owens. And then later, Dominic kind of got distracted. So Truth is out there. We have to be careful, right? We all like R-Truth. He's a funny dude, right? But there's a fine line between funny, silly, and stupid. And I think we're reaching the level of stupidity. And I'm not even talking about Truth, by the way. It's Judgment Day that's starting to look really stupid. It's one thing for a laugh, a giggle. Truth is so funny. But when you start making the diabolical heel faction of Judgment Day look like a goofy goof troop, because that's all they look like. It's not Judgment Day anymore. It's the goof troop. Dominic Mysterio, Monday Night Raw, he's being put in a t-shirt by R-Truth from the crowd. And Dominic can't get out of this t-shirt. JD McDonuts putting a stack of money into his trunks and then getting rolled up. Dominic Mysterio with an Elimination Chamber title match spot. A chance to get to the championship at Mania. You go to the chamber. You're in this thing. And R-Truth is out there. That's where his focus is at. Judgment Day is starting to look very, very stupid. No longer just silly. That's where we got to kind of watch. How far are we going with this? It looks like it doesn't have an end point. He's just going out there in random Judgment Day matches. If things made sense, maybe it would be more funny. But he's just doing the stupidest things. Nothing is making sense. It's crossing the line of stupidity. That's it. What are we doing with the Truth and Judgment Day thing? Does it have an end point? Does it have a purpose? Let's get to that sooner rather than later. Other than that, Kevin Owens goes to the chamber. He defeats Dominic Mysterio, pop-up powerbomb. Then we go to the ladies immediately. Tiffany Stratton versus Zelina Vega. Referee Jessica Carr is wearing the stripes for this match. This was originally supposed to be Tiffany versus Shotzi, as I discussed before SmackDown went on the air with that upload that I put up. We talked about the SmackDown preview. Tiffany versus Shotzi was the original match, and then Naomi versus Zelina was the second women's chamber qualifying match. But because of Shotzi's injury, that resulted in an audible. So then they switched it up to Tiffany versus Zelina and Naomi versus Alba Fire. So this makes much more sense because you don't have that face versus face, Zelina versus Naomi. As we discussed a few hours ago in that upload before SmackDown went live, we discussed how Naomi cannot take an L. Zelina should not be taking an L, especially not to another face. If she's going to take an L, not to another face, man. That's just not how you do this booking thing. And this is what HHH has to get through his dome piece. You cannot book this many face versus face or heel versus heel matches. You're gonna hurt a heel in the process. You're gonna greatly hurt a face in the process. You're dividing your audience. Somebody will get hurt more than the other, reaction-wise. So this actually helped out. You never want to see anybody get injured. We wish the best for Shotzi. But switching this up to Naomi versus Alba, we can get a face versus a heel. And then you have Tiffany versus Zelina. You got your face versus your heel. Just works out much better. Now anybody can lose. The right way. So anyway, Tiffy Time hits the prettiest moonsault ever finisher to defeat Zelina Vega via pinfall. Love Zelina. She gave it the fight of fights. But this was Tiffy Time. There's no way Stratton can lose this type of match before the Chamber. She is already on a huge ascent up the ladder. She is so damn good. She showed you again just how good she is in this match. I can't wait to see what she does inside the Chamber. She has advanced. Then we had some good backstage segments. LA Knight and Drew McIntyre face-to-face. And OC and AJ Styles, more specifically Carl Anderson and Styles. Styles smacked the taste out of Anderson's mouth. And Anderson is like, you're lucky you are who you are. And AJ says something back and Anderson says, do it one more time. Do it again. Do it. And Styles just walks off in frustration. I like that, man. I mean, that's the energy, the passion, the amplification that these shows have been missing. LA Knight and Drew McIntyre. Man, that was so good. Drew sent some jabs over to LA Knight. LA Knight disses McIntyre right back. And then it just got real, right? Like, it got fun. Like, Knight is in McIntyre's face. Referee Jessica Carr, some suits and ties are trying to break it up backstage. LA Knight's like, we're just talking. We're just talking. No. We're talking, right? Big boy, we're just talking, right? Drew's like, yeah, that's what we're doing. But it's so much more. And unfortunately, they just hot shot it to a match next week. But it's like, that's the type of booking you need in long-term storytelling, right? That's a phrase that wrestling fans use, but they don't know what it really is, right? So anything like Cody Rhodes' story is long-term storytelling. No, that's losing a match and then not talking about it again for nearly an entire year. It's not finished. That's a whole new book. That's not the same story anymore. So a lot of fans like to use this cute terminology in wrestling. They don't know what it all means. But these are the little segments that make up a really good long-term feud. You know, these are the ones that spark and ignite a good story. But with HHH, it's to quick little points. He doesn't like, Triple H doesn't like long-term storytelling. And that's one of those things in the community where he gets praised for long-term storytelling, for some of the things that William Regal and others did in NXT with him, Black and Gold. But that's not the HHH of today. He hotshots everything, and I do mean everything. Shinsuke and Cody was just to give you some Raw matches. Xia Li and those two big W's when she was knocking out people like Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. You thought she was getting a really skyrocketed push. No, it was just to hotshot her to two big L's with Valkyria and Becky Lynch. That's all it was. And then you didn't see Xia Li ever again. It's just little pushes, and then he brings you up a couple of steps, and then he takes you back a couple miles, right? Carter and Chance win championships. You really think they're going to be something big, and H is just like, no, that's just to get those titles over to these two. So if you don't mind, just flat on your back, look up at the lights. Chance and Carter, they're not seen again. And you can go on and on, right? This was a really good face-off here, LA Knight and Drew, but it was just to get you to a match next week. And again, we can spend 3 hours at least on the last 6 months of this type of booking from HHH, but it is what it is, man. LA Knight, man, we still don't have anything for Mania. We really don't. He doesn't even know. He was doing interviews. He's like, I don't know what they got for me. Maybe I'll go for the U.S. title. Maybe they got me in some schmaz. I have no idea. But one day I'm going to be a champion, damn it. He means heavyweight, by the way, not mid-card. But he's like, I'll do it. I mean, if that's what they got for me. Anyway, Knight and Drew, OC Styles. I mean, I know these are minuscule to a lot of people because it's just a couple of quick backstage segments. But when I think of this show in its totality, aside from The Rock, these are the best parts of the show. Also, Nick Aldis. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in the second hour. Let's wrap up the first hour. We go back to AOP that ended the first hour with a straight jobber match victory. AOP in a legit jobber match. Now, if you follow this channel, you know BC loves the jobber match. When you have superstars, legit superstars, defeating in action and defeating jobbers, right? Because it makes the superstars look like bona fide superstars. What a concept. That's all you need to do, right? And the jobbers, they take the lumps, they take the ass whoopings. In fact, the beating should be so damn badass that that's what makes people captivated to the superstar, right? You get to whoop them even more because you don't got to protect the jobbers. That's the fun. That's why jobber matches are always so much fun. You got to see the Big Boss Man or Texas Tornado, Rick the Model Martel, King Kong Bundy, Earthquake. Does any of these names ring a bell? They got to just absolutely squash and annihilate a bunch of nobodies. Barry Horowitz to the Brooklyn Brawler. But AOP wins, man. They brought back a couple of jobbers. These were some basic unknown NXT yahoos. Jackoff Jameson and Stunod Stevenson, I believe their names were. And the freefall finale finisher for the pinfall victory for AOP. Now, I love this. I could go on and on about how much I love the jobber match. And AOP just looked like beasts. My one critique is that we had something more and something special post-match. So you say, well, BC, what are you talking about, man? You just said you love the jobber match. They gave you the jobber match. AOP looked like beasts. What more could you want? Exactly what I said. Post-match, this is the perfect time to do this when you have a jobber match. Post-match, you do something bigger. You do something special that is unique to your character. I'll give you some for instances, right? Let's go back in the day when we actually did jobber matches. What did Jake Roberts used to do after he hit the DDT in the 1, 2, 3? Match was over. Anybody remember? Pop quiz. Come on. Come on. All right, I'm going to answer for you. He used to take out Damien from his snake bag. He literally had a green bag, and there was an actual snake in there, Damien, the python. He would take him out, and he would lay it on his opponent that was knocked out from the DDT. And you get that camera B or even sometimes C shot that was right on that snake, and it would slither up the face and try to get in the mouth. It was some gross shit. And Jake Roberts with a shit-eating grin on his face. Right? That happened after the match. You knew that DDT 1, 2, 3, that was just half of it. You got to stick around. Damien is coming out. Earthquake. After the match, that was just a pinfall, that squashing. After the match is when the opponent actually got squashed through the canvas. A couple of big ass splashes from Earthquake. Earth-shattering. You felt so damn bad for that dude that was taking those ass splashes. You truly thought his chest was caved in. How about anybody, man? $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase after the match. What would he do? He would whip out a stack of hundreds and he would stuff them in the mouth of his knocked out opponent because he would perform the sleeper hold. That was his finisher. So they were sound asleep. And then Virgil would give him a stack of hundreds. And he would take some of those hundreds and stuff them in the mouth, man. How filthy, how fucking negligently rude by $1 Million Man. How pompous. He didn't care. Though that stack of cash was going in the mouth of that. And then he would take it out. Virgil would take it out. So they don't even get to keep those hundreds. Undertaker. You guys remember what Taker used to do after he would beat a jobber? Paul Bearer would literally take out a body bag. Literally, they would place the opponent in a body bag. Sometimes Taker would take him out with him. How wild is that? The Mountie, he used to shock people with his shocker after the match. So you thought losing was bad? No, the worst was yet to come with the shocker. And you could keep going on and on. I mean, we could have fun with this for hours. But the point is that's where characters shined, man. First, they annihilated Luigi Lugnuts, Danny Dipshit Dugenheimer, Billy Buttfuck McGee. I mean, they would just annihilate these individuals. And then afterwards, something unique to their character would put the spotlight on them even more. This is their time. AOP or anybody else that you want in a jobber match. Otis, Ivar, doesn't matter. This is their time to shine and have people captivated to your work, to your character, to your persona. This is the time to do it. AOP just kind of wins, and then we go backstage. Well, we saw that booking with VKM, though. Remember? I mean, AOP was having jobber matches before. It just didn't click because there was nothing unique to them. Let's add that touch. We're going to be much better off. Let's go on to hour number 2. Logan Paul versus Miz. This was a chamber qualifier. There was a funny graphic that showed that Logan Paul has a higher rating than Miz. It was like the 2K rating in the video game. And I think Logan is like at a 90. Miz is at like 81. It was funny, right? Because Logan is this newcomer. Miz has been doing this over a decade. And he's got nearly a 10-point differential. So pretty funny, man. I'm sure Miz doesn't look at it as too funny. Paul ends up defeating Miz via pinfall, and he advances to the chamber match. There was plenty of botches by Logan Paul in this match. You don't see that often because Logan Paul is so damn good at what he does. I mean, already it seems he's one of the better wrestlers on the roster. Better than I would easily say about 75% of the wrestlers on that roster. Logan Paul's already better. That's how it seems anyway, right? Because he has all these pay-per-view matches, PLEs. And of course, those are heavily rehearsed, especially for Logan Paul. And that's why when this match was announced for TV, eventually you do have to take the training wheels off. I get it, right? Eventually they got to go into the pool without the life preservers and life jacket and the floaties. I get it. So the training wheels came off and he's on TV. I thought this was just a rough idea because this is where you're going to see the botches. This is when you're going to see how far along he truly is. For those that don't know, right, that's what this channel does. It educates, right? BC has been in that ring. I got plenty of friends traveling the world as I speak, busting their backs, putting it all on the line in rings across the world. So trust when I say I know a lot about this, man. Pay-per-view PLE matches are far different than televised matches. Far different. The amount of rehearsal, the amount of detail that goes into these PLE or pay-per-view matches, it's nowhere close to the televised matchups. The televised matchups, and I should say that in reverse, the televised match is nothing like them because the televised matches, you have to work around breaks. You have to work around time constraints. In other words, if you got 10 minutes due to other things that have been happening in the night or on that show, you might have gotten 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes chopped off. So you have two options. You're either going to cut a lot off your match or you're going to try to rush it all. A lot of these wrestlers have too much pride and they really want to get their work in, so they rush it. So when I say that it's two totally different beasts, PLE and televised, all we've seen from Logan Paul is PLEs, heavily rehearsed, all the time in the world, relax, do your work at your pace. Televised, now we're in a different game. You felt that Logan Paul was a lot more rushed tonight, right? You started to see the botches would have been a lot less if he had taken his time. But he was rushing it. It's like he knew it was a little bit off the rails, a lot of this match. So that's the critique in the match, right? From BC, who knows how to critique these matches, and that's exactly what I got from the jump from Logan Paul. I didn't feel right about this match from the beginning. I understand you got to take the training wheels off, but I knew this is where you're going to see Logan Paul exposed a bit. Sure enough, plenty of botches. It was rough. It looked like he tweaked his leg on a couple of occasions, took some nasty bumps. But when it was all said and done, he did get the W. But I did want to spend a couple of minutes just explaining how that is different, right? For those that are like, whoa, this is kind of Logan's rustier matches that I've seen him in. You know, this is one of those matches where Logan just didn't feel like he had it. Well, that's why. This is one of the rare times you're going to see him on television, where it's not as pristine. Time is cut off. Things are a lot more rushed. You're working around commercials. It's a different beast. Much different than PLE's. So anyway, you know, we're not going to knock him for it. It's not like he has televised matches often. This might be his first ever, correct? Point is, he just doesn't have them enough, so he's going to have to work through those kinks. But all things considered, he pulled himself together, and he had a respectable match for the most part, and he gets the W going to the Chamber. Good for Logan Paul, who you guys know. I think he's so damn good. He has that it factor. He knows how to be that natural-born heel. He plays it so damn well, so damn good in the ring. You got to believe he's only going to get better from there. He goes on and advances to the Chamber. Naomi versus Alba Fire, Chamber qualifier. You guys catching a theme? That's all this night was, man. Match, qualifier. Naomi taps out Fire. The submission was so badass by Naomi that Alba couldn't even properly tap out. Like, her arms are behind her head. She's trying to tap her chest, but her rib cage. She can't even get to her ribs, guys. She was just, this submission was so badass, and it was locked in perfectly. Alba Fire just looked like a freaking a demented seal in the water, right? And she's just fucking flapping away, and the ref thankfully saw it. So Naomi, massive W, goes over to the Chamber. Fire collects another L. She can go to catering for the next several months with Isla Dawn, I'm guessing. Nick Aldis then announces that Bron Breakker is no longer a free agent, and he has officially signed with the Blue brand. That was it. Camera zooms in on Bron, and then we cut to commercial or something. Yeah, we could have done that a little bit better. Backstage, Jade Cargill was also talking with Aldis, but Tiffany Stratton came in to give some lip service to Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair. So Aldis had to put a stop to that. That pretty much stopped the Jade Cargill discussion. So it remains to be seen what they're going to do with Cargill. I told you guys in the upload before SmackDown went live, I told you guys some breaking news. Bron Breakker and Jade Cargill were at the arena, possibly going to be used on the show. I did not disappoint. Roman Reigns and The Rock end the show. Roman says tonight is a special night where The Rock officially becomes a member of the Bloodline. The Rock then comes out. Massive pop. Even if you want to boo the guy, this is a crowd that was genuinely going to be thrilled beyond belief to see The Rock. But of course, they get infiltrated with all the BS on their little social doohickey machines. And the vocal minority kind of try to get into their dome piece, right? Rocky is so bad. He's sabotaging everything. He's an old part-timer. He's got an ego. He's such a bad, evil man, right? It's Cody's time to finish the story, right? You get all of that, right? So now all the crowds feel like they have to play along, right? Yeah, we're booing Rocky, right? Yeah, you can't help yourself. When that music hits, listen to that crowd. You tried to get a Cody chant. They tried to boo the Rock. After just a sentence or two, they were already chanting, Rocky, Rocky. It was already so damn loud. Rock is like, no. You blew your chance. And he was just off the wall, man. They were in Utah, and he was talking about how they basically have 60 wives. He was going in, bro. Calling them inbreds. Talking about, hey, fatso, sit down or I'll slap the herpes off your lips. This was old school, corporate heel, Hollywood Rock. It was a mixture, it was a hybrid of the best of heel Rock. I always say, man, careful what you're asking for, you just may get it. You want to boo The Rock, he's gonna embarrass you. He's gonna shred you verbally. That's what The Rock does. It was wild. It was, that's how promos are done back in the day. Nobody wants to talk about the Attitude Era anymore. They want to talk about how business is booming today, right? Well, you show me wrestlers that can do that, because guess how many there are? Zero. Absolutely zero. That's what The Rock does. Even Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman just had to give him the floor. And they ended the night with The Rock saying, and before he even ended with that final line, he did say, You had the dream match in the palm of your hands, and you let it slip away. And he called out what this story is for Cody. He's like, that doesn't even make sense. The 49ers just lost to KC. Do you think the 49ers are just going to say, but our story wasn't finished? Rematch next year. No, that's not how it works. You know, Triple H made that huge booking creative botch last year. And you got to get more creative the following year to make up for that botch. Two wrongs don't make a right. But that shows you, man. You listen to that crowd reaction The Rock got on the night that Cody, with no explanation, just moved aside and was like, I don't want to take you on at WrestleMania, right? Cody looked like such an idiot. Didn't he? To this day, he hasn't explained a damn word. And you listen to that ovation, right? And then you start to hear the little interweb machine nerds that are going to town. That's the whole. It's like, well, that's not what we heard and saw. And then you go to an arena like this, where they tried to play along with the interweb machine and boo The Rock, but it's not natural. It's The Rock. He's the most polarizing dude. He's got everybody in the palm of their hands. They were chanting the dude's name, trying to do the catchphrases, trying to do the sing-alongs, the pop at the start of The Rock coming through the curtain. This is what happens. And this is what I mean about the vocal minority. And you can't cater to them, because they don't know what they're talking about. It's the same crowd that claimed struggle and adversity. Cody cannot win or should not win last year. Roman has to keep the title for another year. Cody will take a year to do more struggle and adversity, overcome it, and then we'll revisit this in a year. Well, that crowd got it completely wrong, just like they were the same people that said Daniel Bryan has to be added to Edge and Roman. Well, that's a completely stupid, absurd, nonsensical, illogical, ludicrous statement. And they listened. Daniel Bryan went in. To this day, Daniel Bryan says, I don't know why I was in that match. It felt awkward. I didn't do anything to earn it. It was weird. The own wrestler in the match said it was so damn stupid and awkward, he doesn't know why he was in the match. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly what happened. Anybody will tell you what happened, right? A bunch of crybabies moaned, bitched, and complained that they didn't get their way, and they, with access to a keyboard and 140 characters, and that's exactly what they did. They cried, and they cried, and they cried, and they cried. And before you know it, Bryan's in the match, like, what am I doing here? And by the end of the match, he was stacked up with Edge, with Roman claiming victory on both of them. Awesome job there, guys. Every year around WrestleMania, you just get a pile of goofballs that just try to change WrestleMania or hijack it or feel that their booking is best. No, it would be best if you just take your grubby little thumbs, put them underneath your ass, and sit on them. That's it. Just shut up is the best thing you can do. Shut up. That's it. That's the best thing, man. And let the best possible booking, it remains to be seen if it's actually good or not, but the best possible booking, let that take precedent, right? Edge and Roman doesn't need a third wheel, right? Cody winning the championship last year was just what had to happen. We couldn't do another year of Roman when we knew he was going to be sitting home. When we say most of the year, we mean most of the year. And Cody was going on all these tours and on all the shows. There's no way Cody needs another year of this imaginary struggle and adversity. What are you talking about? The guy just was wrestling in Hell in a Cell with half his body blue and purple. Dude, what are you talking about? Read the room. But no. Hold on, Mom. Typing. Cody can't win yet. Struggle and adversity is needed. Well, how'd that work out for you? I tell you, man, it's so good to have this Rock and really play it up, because you know this is the Rock, how he truly feels about that sector. And he's bashing them in the most Rock way possible. And I love it. I'm here for it. I'm standing for it. Because this is the first time where we get to actually put them in their place, right? So for the feuds, shutty. Let the big boys sit at the big boy table. There's kiddie tables for all the rest. Know where you stand. know which table to sit at. BC Amplified. This is your SmackDown review. That's where the show went off the air. The Rock laying into everybody and saying that indeed the Bloodline is the most powerful duo. Sorry Solo, sorry Jimmy, sorry Paul. Most dominant duo, Roman and Rock. And he won't let everybody else do his final catchphrase. So that does look like they're leaning into a tag team match with Sethington and Cody. Unfortunately, that's not a WrestleMania caliber match to me. But if anybody can sell it, it's The Rock. So WrestleMania continues to be an absolute cluster, but at least we got The Rock, right? The one guy, when you hear the community bitching and moaning and oh no, part-timing Rock is gonna steal the show. Always know, whenever they're claiming and bitching and moaning, it's usually the opposite. No, it's The Rock literally saving WrestleMania. Isn't that funny? He was being mocked because there was a false report when this all started that The Rock was coming back to save WrestleMania, so a lot of idiots were going with that story. Isn't it ironic? Here we are, and The Rock is literally having to save WrestleMania. The Amplified, man, the best to do it in this business. Signing off. Until next time. And there will be that next time. Top guys were out. BC saying check you. Peace. Deuces. Ooses.